Hey guys, welcome to Sit Topical. Nate here, and today, in honor of Minari releasing, I am doing my over and under for A24 films.
First, we have A24's first film, Spring Breakers.
Um, I really like this movie. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think A24 is going to be really hard for me to do over or under on because so many people don't pay attention to smaller films. It's going to be really hard for me to not say that every one of these films is underrated. Uh,
I mean, you know about the Collider people. Like, you know critics.
yeah, that's true.
Tighten
Uh,
it up.
I don't know. I feel like it's perfectly rated. I really like that movie. Uh, I don't feel like I've ever heard anyone say anything like hyping it up beyond what I think it is. Uh, if anything, I would still like on a more like grander scale outside of like the critic verse. I would say underrated because so many people haven't seen it. But for what I know and from what I've heard people say about it, I'd say that's perfectly rated.
Well, it has former WCW wrestler Jeff Jarrett in it. And he's a fucking cocksucker, so Spring Breakers, overrated. Next, we have Strange Wings, Strange Wings top 10 favorite films of all time. It's mid 90s.
That movie is unfortunately probably always going to be underrated. In that, I mean, it's really that same reason. Like it's such a small film. More people need to see that movie. Uh, even the people who I've heard talk about it, like they don't talk about mid '90s like they talk about like Ex Machina or like plenty or The Lighthouse. Like I feel like The Lighthouse got more buzz than mid '90s, and that's sad to me because that movie is phenomenal.
Hereditary.
Um, I think I feel like Hereditary is kind of at its perfect level of ratement. I mean, most people consider it an absolutely phenomenal horror movie, which is exactly what it is. It's an absolutely phenomenal horror movie. Uh, I don't know that I've ever heard anyone say they think it's the best horror movie of all time, which I think that's fair because it's not. But you know, any rating I've seen, it's usually consistently in the high 80s or 90s. It's a great movie, and I feel like it gets the respect that it deserves. So.
Sticking with horror, The Lighthouse.
I personally find The Lighthouse. I'm gonna say a tad overrated, but just a little bit. And I think that most of that just comes from like how much buzz this movie had when it came out. Uh, like I heard like people were just talking about it left and right all the time, and I guess it was just because like between the cast and it's black and white and like it's a very odd movie. Uh, so like it's a good it's a really good movie, but I think I just got a little tired of hearing about it so much, and then it came out, and then after it came out, everyone talked about it for like a week, and then we moved on. So I'm gonna go overrated on that one.
Sticking with horror, still Midsummer.
Um, that one's tough. Uh, I guess I'm gonna say I think it's appropriate. Like I think it's perfectly rated. It is a little tougher. I mean, I feel like again, it's kind of like we knew this movie was coming out. We knew what Ari Aster did with Hereditary, so there was a lot of like expectation behind it. Definitely don't think it lived up to what Hereditary was by any means, but it's like visually, it's a really beautiful film. Uh, it is uh, incredibly creepy, intense. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. But kind of like with the Lighthouse, I feel like it came out and everyone just talked about it for like a week, and then we just all kind of moved on. And I don't think it's as good as Hereditary, but I did really enjoy it. So I think it's good where it's at.
Going far, far away from horror, unless you're in the eighth grade and a girl in the eighth grade. Eighth grade.
Yeah, I have to go underrated on that one. I love this movie a lot. There may be some, I guess there's some like personal bias. I feel like I can relate so much to like the character in this movie. Uh, in terms of like really just that idea of like everyone else your age just kind of seeming to like progress further than you are, like when you're ready, like you're not ready, like you still want to be a kid, and that's just who you are. uh not enough people talk about this movie. I don't feel like it gets brought up nearly enough when people are talking about A24 films. And I understand that they have like way more exciting films, but to me that just adds to the fact that this one is so underrated because, you know, I don't know. I guess people just aren't as like much of a sucker for like a good like heartfelt like story anymore. If it's not big and exciting, then why talk about it, right? So
Next, we have what I can think is the introduction to A24's favorite male actor, Lucas Hedges, Lady Bird.
uh Lady Bird is just a touch, just a slightly overrated. I really, really like Lady Bird a lot. When this movie came out, it like the at least the critics that I paid attention to were blowing up about it, uh, and it is incredibly good. I like that movie a lot. It got a Best Picture nomination, I'm pretty sure, and Greta Gerwig got a director nomination. Uh, so like, it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie, but it's still a really good movie. But I feel like he got treated like it was a great movie.
Speaking of Oscar nominations,
Hmm.
Oscar winner, Moonlight.
Ugh. Yeah, and just for that fact alone, like Moonlight is a little overrated, and I'm not gonna get into my La La Land versus Moonlight in like war right now, and that's okay. But like even removing La La Land from the picture, I still feel like Moonlight is just a touch overrated. But I also feel like I have to be super clear about why I feel like that with this one because I don't want anyone to assume that it's for the wrong reasons. Because Moonlight did tell a really important story, so like being a like I can't I can't relate. Like, there's almost nothing that I can relate to that character with, and I'm not saying that as like a negative, like just a fact of life. In that I'm not African American. I didn't come from an impoverished community, and I'm pretty straight. So like, um, but like what a like that's an incredibly. I'm pausing because he's laughing. I think that's an incredibly important story to tell because like that's an incredibly difficult, like I can't imagine what it's like having to grow up in that kind of like culture and like having to struggle with like accepting who you are as a person when everyone around you is like pushing so hard against that and to the point to where like you are going to get bullied and beat up for being who you are, and that's awful. That is all mostly in the first part of the movie, which is the best part of the movie. And this movie has like a very clear and defined 3 act structure to it. And the movie gets progressively, I don't know, I don't want to say worse because it is still a good movie, but like the second and third part just do not live up to what the first one built. And I'm tired of hearing people talk about the whole movie like the whole movie is good when really the first third of the movie is good. The first third of the movie is fucking excellent, and then it slowly declines from there. So it's overrated.
Does the first third deserve an Oscar win? If that's all you got?
No, the first third of a movie does not deserve an entire Oscar win.
I'm talking about if that's the movie. The first third.
If they stretch that out into like a feature length film,
And it like kept with the same greatness, would that deserve the Oscar?
Yeah, I mean, I would be totally cool with that.
Okay.
It I'm still probably always going to like La La Land more, even if that was the version of Moonlight that we got. But like, I would be much more like I would be like it was a toss up.
Okay.
But
You said pretty straight, which makes a lot more sense why you have a shirtless picture of Harrison Ford hanging up above your bed.
good looking dude.
Pretty Straight. A movie I think that's better than Pretty Straight, but take my opinion out of it. Good Time.
I think Good Time is a little underrated, and I think it still comes back to that fact that like people just aren't watching it. And I hope that the reason people aren't watching it isn't because of like the stupid Like, I hear people talk all this. Every time Robert Pattinson takes on like another serious role, everyone's always like, "Oh, he's breaking out of Twilight. He's breaking out of Twilight." And I'm like, he's been doing other movies besides Twilight for years, and they've mostly been really good. So I don't know. I just don't ever hear anyone talk about it. Maybe someone's texting me about it right now. I don't know. But I doubt it because nobody talks about that movie. And I'm not saying it's like a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a really, really good movie. It showed like Pattinson's acting chops off way before any Batman talk, way before Tenet. And I understand that those are like, big center of the public eye movies, but Homeboy deserves more credit than he gets.
We started with James Franco. We're ending with James Franco with his directorial debut, question mark, and starring in The Disaster Artist.
I'll be honest with you. I had no idea that was an A24 movie. Nice. Yeah, I think that one's fine where it is. I know Strange Wing likes that movie a lot. I thought it was okay. Like, it was fine. It didn't do a lot for me, but it definitely wasn't bad by any means. What a super interesting story to tell. And, I feel like definitely not a movie I really hear anyone talk about a whole lot anymore. What?
I didn't know if he was going to remember it or not, but I took the chance to put it on the list anyways. When this movie came out, they were talking about James Franco winning Best Director. And he won an award, I think the SAG Awards, for Best Director. Then the allegations came out.
That's true.
So I'm not saying the allegations are true or false. I'm just saying with or without the allegation.
Yeah.
What do you think people would have overhyped it without the allegations? Or it would be where it's at still? Because there was a lot of Oscar buzz for this movie beforehand.
Well, I definitely remember the director Oscar buzz. I don't personally remember people throwing out Best Picture talk. Maybe they were, but
I mean, he was talked about Best Actor, Tommy Wiseau. Like, there's a lot of like awards in general for this movie.
I wouldn't have had a problem with him winning Best Director. Oh, if what had happened or allegedly happened or whatever hadn't happened. A lot of happens there. A lot of happenstance. But
the next film, A24's It Happens at Night.
Nice. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, directing wise, I think that was an incredible directorial effort. I give him props for that. I mean, the movie itself was fine. Like, it was fine. And I don't know if we're just still like, maybe, I don't know. James Franco has done other stuff since then. So like, I don't know if we're over what he was like accused of. Like, it's not like he's disappeared. Nobody just talks about him anymore. So I don't know what's going on there. But anyways, this has been my over and under for A24 movies. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like the video, scroll down, leave us a comment, scroll back up, share the video, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.